I don't know. I know we haven't talked about everything that we want to talk about, but we did want to get just some general impressions of the background, the story behind the story of how the borough got started. I think we've accomplished that.
One thing we didn't maybe get yet, I was maintenance man when the sewer got put in the town here. And I think the fellows that worked here, the sewer people were glad for me, because I marked all the lines out. I found a new just an instrument of the borough. I detected the lines and I marked them, and I made it very handy for them to work. I will say that they told me, the foremen of the gangs that were working, that had men under them to work, told me that they never were in a town where the lines were so exactly marked out like I had them marked out. One time, the main foreman, the biggest, had the most important gang to work. He went down, we were at a place and where I had the line marked to go down, and he said to me, he said, "You were half an inch off." And he really told me.
That was just tongue in cheek. He was just sort of joshing you that you missed one there by a half inch.
By a half inch.
Yeah.
Well, at first, I'll say it is, at first, when they started in the upper end of town, they didn't trust my reliability.
Did you have a metal detector?
What the borough has right now.
But it's a metal detector.
Yes, it's a metal detector.
Gives beeps off or something?
Yes.
And then you went around and traced. What did you put then? Did you put salt?
I had a can with paint. And when you squeeze on there on the nozzle, then the paint would fly out, and I just painted the street. Down here at the planing mill, when the corner there where Chloe, that's your grandfather. They had a dispute that the line was on your grandfather, the main water line now. They were there, they wanted to put the sewer line in up through. The water line was over there on your father's side, coming down that way. I had it marked over on the other side. And the fellows that put the line in, the water line in, they sort of was over on your father's side, or your grandfather's side. But I said it's over there. So when they came there to put it in, then decide who was telling it, who was right. And they came up to my place, the superintendent, and wanted me to come down as the instrument to see now who is right there. And then the superintendent was up at my place, and he said, "I hope you're right," because they wanted to put the sewer line over on your where your father lived. He said, then the superintendent said to me up at my place, "I hope you're right." I told him, I said, "I don't hope I'm right." I said, "I know I'm right." And of course, I went down and I proved that I was right.
Yeah, and that's where she went in then, up along there where Ralph Stump lives. And well, that was very helpful, I'm sure.
There was, I will say that some person to do that had to have some experience before this instrument, and I had very good success with it, and I was the only one that could have at that time that could have been prepared to go ahead with it. The borough got the instrument, I'll say it is, and they gave it. When they got it, they gave it to me to experiment with it. That was before the sewer people were here. And I did on lines where I knew the line was, and then I used it on places where I didn't know where it was for sure, and got a little experience. And I told the borough council, I said, "It's a good instrument," I said, to get it. And my talk was a whole lot the reason why they got it.
Let me ask you something.
That was much very helpful
first started to work for the borough, did they have chlorination in the water?
Yes, yes.
They already had it then?
Yes, they had to have it
Because I know, before, years ago, we didn't have any
then.
chlorination.
No, it's not. No, we didn't. You surely didn't. Now, I wasn't living in town at that time, but
Oh, yeah.
you surely didn't
There
have
was
it.
no chlorination in 34.
Because when I came here,
Uh-uh. No chlorination.
well, all right, at that time I wasn't working for the borough neither, so I don't know, but I wasn't concerned about
It
that.
wasn't even into the 40s that we had
Well,
chlorination.
all right, you may be right.
But sometime around 45, 46, 47 in there, the Department of Health indicated that we had sufficient bacteria or something in the water that it would be best if we have a chlorination plant. So they built that little one,
Yes.
which we know where it's at. We have pictures of it in our bicentennial book, 76 bicentennial book. But did you have to attend to the chlorination plant as part of your?
Yes, I did.
I guess, how did that work? You just put, what is it, Clorox bleach or something?
Chlorine, called chlorine. We had it dropped in, as the water went through the pipes, it had a...
Was there a special chemical, the chlorine?
Oh, yes.
It wasn't just like Clorox bleach or anything?
No, it was the
Special?
They had you surely use the same thing now,
Yeah, probably they do. But boy, they sure seem to use more of it these days because I guess our water supply is more, it's not, it must need more chlorinating these days than
I
it used to.
don't know whether it needs more or not, I wouldn't say.
But in any event, I can remember working on the water systems as a youngster myself. And there was no chlorinating, and then we had the chlorinating. And now they have a new chlorinating plant.
Yeah,
that just went in
yes,
operation.
they have a new plan now where it goes through, the water goes through inside in the plant and puts the chlorine in.
Yeah, well, we might have an opportunity to go out and see that in operation and.
I think the little place that they had up there, I don't think that it was good enough for the state anymore.
But that would, I don't know, we'll find that out, but that little one might serve as an emergency, as a backup.
The pipes goes through all the things.
Still goes through,
They
so.
didn't change the pipes.
So in an emergency, why we could still use that. Well, for the purposes that we're interested in for the evening, I think we've touched upon some rather interesting subjects. So for this particular time, we'll thank you, sir, for your time, and thank Randall Benfer. We'll thank Randall Hassinger, and Mr. Arthur Benfer also, who we interviewed earlier. But for October the 3rd, 1983, this will conclude interview session number 1 for the Beavertown Historical Society. And again, thank you all.